Hello, it's Mr. Omari here, and I want to talk to you about finding the perimeter of particular objects. And we're going to start off fairly easy, and I'll do another video about stuff that's a little bit harder. So when we say perimeter, what we actually mean is just the distance around the edge of something. So, for instance, and let's just check, oh good, that seems to be doing what it should. So, when we say distance around, the house I used to live in Melbourne was 17 metres across the back, it was 17 metres across the front, and it was 30 metres deep. And it was perfectly rectangular, so this works well. I know my diagram isn't perfectly rectangular, but the block was, so the math still holds. So, when I say what the perimeter is, I mean what the distance is around the outside edge. So, before the fences went up and everything, if you walked around, you'd obviously walk 30 metres, 30 metres, 17 and 17. I've forgotten to cross one of my sevens. So we just add all of those together, which I'm actually just going to do the easy thing. I'm just going to add 30 and 30, which is 60. I'm going to add 17 and 17, which is 34. And so that gets me to the answer of 94. It's the perimeter of my block. So, you know, if I'm trying to work out how much fencing I was going to need, this is worth knowing. It's actually quite a useful measurement to have the perimeter, you know, for painting, for building, for all that kind of stuff. But let's look how we do it for various shapes, and let's look at how we can do it a little bit more efficiently. So, for instance, on this triangle, let's say I've got a triangular block. I know that this side is 2, and this side is 2, and what I can actually do is if I can put a little hash sign across there, just a little line, and that lets me know that where I see one line and I see another, they're the same. Now, I'm not going to put a line here because this is in fact 2.82, this side. So, I'm going to add it up by 2 and 2 is 4, and 2.82 brings me to 6.82. So, I'm just adding up all the sides. And there is a formula to do this, but we'll come to that another time. So, you're just adding up the sides of a triangle. And that little hint about when things are the same, if they haven't told you what something equals, have a look for those, because I bet it equals something else. Now, with something like this is basically, again, you just add it up, and sometimes you're going to have to do a little bit of problem solving. So let's say I know that this is 5 across there, 2 across there, 1 there, and 2 there. So what I actually need to do is do a bit of problem solving here to get the perimeter, because the person who's written this, which in this case is still me, is kind of testing what you understand. So if the bottom is 5 and that section up there is 2, then this section here must be the remainder of the 5. So that must be 3, but you'd have to work that out. Likewise, if the whole height is 2 and one of it is here, then that must be 1 as well. So all we're going to do is we're going to add up 2 plus 5 is 7, 8 plus 3 is 11, plus 1 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So my perimeter is 14. Now, if this is all centimetres, then it's 14 centimetres. One thing you do have to watch for is that they're all the same measurement. Because occasionally you're going to say that it's going to be, okay, well this is, you know, that's 1 centimetre, but this is in fact 50 millimetres. So you've got to turn them all into the same thing before you start adding them together. So now that we know that, let's look at how we can do this stuff with equations. So we look at a rectangle. Now, a rectangle, by its very definition, I hope you can see those. I might change that to another colour to make it a bit easier to see, that I have marked it with those little hash lines. And that means those lines are the same length. And I'm marking those with a single one. And I could have done it the other way, but it basically means that equals that, and that equals that. So, this is the length, and this is the width. Now, I could look at this and I could say, okay, that one's 10 and that one's 5. And you know what, you could work that out, much the same way as we did at the start of this. But here's another way to do it. Here's a formula. So, and this is why we're using our equations and formulas and so forth. So, we know the same 10, we know the same 5. So, P, which is perimeter, equals 2 brackets L. Now the length is 10 plus 5. So we expand our brackets. So I'm going to say it's 2 times 10 is 20, and it's 2 times 5 is another 10. So my total for P is 30. Another way we could do that, if you like to have another way, we're still looking at it, still same equation, but let's collapse the brackets first. So it's 2 brackets 10 plus 5 is 15, 2 times 15 is 30. Same answer, but let's check whether it's right. 10 plus 5 is 15, plus another 10, because they're the same, is 25, plus another 5 is 30. So there's a nice little formula for you to keep up your sleeve so that you can very quickly work out the perimeter of a rectangle, and I'll come back for another video and tell you how to work out the perimeter of other shapes.